Good morning, Jai Hind. I hope all of you are doing well. Good morning, Jai Hind. I hope all of you are doing well. Okay, so first of all, welcome to the session. Welcome to the session. Now, in the previous session, in the last session, we have discussed about this Bandipur Tiger Reserve also. We have discussed about the Kurdistan issue also and some of the other related topics in the last session. Okay. So this is one thing which we have discussed in the previous session last day. Now in today's session, the topics which we are going to discuss, the first one is Indian African exercise. Okay. Now see, this is very crucial topic. Why very crucial? We are seeing that now there is a change in the global geopolitics. There is a change in this global geopolitics, and in that context, India has started to diversify its relation with countries of the world. So in that context, we are going to discuss this Indian African exercise. The second thing is food waste. Now see, last day, one of you, I think there was a comment that we should also discuss some important editorial. See, whenever there is an important editorial, I will discuss that. But if I think that it is not important or we have already done that in the past, so I'm not just discussing any like editorial because it was there in the Hindu. I will discuss those editorials which are important for your examination point of view. Like this one is here, food waste. So this is a very crucial part. This is a very important thing for your mains examination. So that's why we are going to cover this topic of food waste. The third one is permafrost thawing. So now there is a detailed article about this permafrost thawing in today's newspaper. So we are going to discuss that also. It is relevant both from prelims perspective as well as mains perspective. And then the final one, DNA polymorphism. So this is also one of the topic which we are going to discuss today. DNA polymorphism and a related concept, DNA fingerprinting and its application. So these are the topics which we are going to discuss in today's session. And plus I had to ask some questions also. I was supposed to ask some questions also from some of the topics. So I hope you have gone through that. Lokpal, CAG and all. Okay. So let's first start with some of the questions. The first one is, how many of the following share border with Bandipur Tiger Reserve? The first one is saying Brahmagiri Wildlife Sanctuary, Mudumalai Tiger Reserve, Wayanad Wildlife Sanctuary and Kaveri Wildlife Sanctuary. So how many of them are sharing border with the Bandipur Tiger Reserve? So give me the answer for this question. How many of them are sharing border with Bandipur Tiger Reserve? This is one topic which we have discussed in the previous session. Last day we have discussed about it. It is situated there in Karnataka. We have seen it is having deciduous type of vegetation. So what will be the answer? Okay, two options as option number C. Three. Okay. Kajal is saying option D, rest all other people option C. So last day we have seen this. When we are talking about the Bandipur Tiger Reserve, there is one thing called as Nagarhole National Park which is sharing the border with this. Then we have the another one, Wayanad Wildlife Sanctuary, which is sharing border with it. Then we also see that there is Mudumalai Tiger Reserve which is sharing border with it. Then we have seen Satyamangalam Tiger Reserve which is sharing border with it. Then we have seen Nuga Wildlife Sanctuary which is also sharing border with it. So these are the 5 ones which are sharing border with Bandipur Tiger Reserve. So here the option is Mudumulai and Wayanad. Kaveri is sharing border with this Satyamangalam Tiger Reserve. It is towards the eastern side. And this Brahmagiri Wildlife Sanctuary, it is towards the western side of it after the Nagarhole National Park. So there is no linkage between this Bandipur Tiger Reserve and Brahmagiri. It is the Brahmagiri Hills. It is the Brahmagiri Hills from where we have the origin of this Kaveri and all. So here we have this Nagarhole National Park which is there. Then this Kaveri Wildlife Sanctuary, it is towards the eastern side after the Satyamangalam Tiger Reserve. So again, both of them are not correct. So answer here is only 2, B option. How many of the following rivers pass through the Bandipur National Park? Kabini. Sorry, this is Kabini, Tungbhadra, Moyer and Nuga. Kabini, Tungbhadra, Moyer and Nuga. So how many of them are passing through this Bandipur National Park? Question number 2. Question number 2, how many of them are passing through this? Okay, 2 option. Second question, option number C. I think most of the people are going for this and it is correct also. Tungbhadra is the tributary of Krishna river, so it is not there. Apart from this, Kabini, Moyer and Nuga. So answer is option C, only 3. Kurd people are spread over how many of the following countries? Syria, Iraq, Iran and Armenia. Kurd people are spread over how many of the following countries? Syria, Iraq, Iran and Armenia. Question number 3. Question number 3. These Kurd people, they are spread over how many such countries? Option D. Okay. Question number 3, I think most of the people are going for option number D. A few answer as option number C also. Lack of revision. Lack of revision. See, Syria is having Kurd people. That is correct. Iraq is also having them. Correct. Iran is also having them. Correct. Armenia is also having around 2 million. Not simple, just 1 or 2 people. 2 million people in there, Armenia as Kurd people. So Armenia is also having Kurd population. So answer here is all 4. Okay. You can see Turkey is also there. Apart from this, you will find Turkey is also there, which is having the Kurd people. And then we have this Syria, Iraq, Iran, Armenia. They are also having Kurd people in their region. Okay. So this is 3 questions, easy questions. I think all of you can give answers for them. Now, we are coming to today's topic. The first one is Indian African exercise. Okay. So now what is the background of it? Like, we are having a new exercise. We are having a new exercise which is called as ACIME. Okay. Africa India Key Maritime Engagement Exercise. Okay. So we will talk about that, but let us see that what is the background of it. Recently we see that Indian Navy announces maiden Indian African exercise IOS Sagar. Okay. So see this part, that why this is crucial. Okay, what is the background of it? The background. The first part is the China's influence. The first part is China's influence, or you can see China's growing influence in Indian Ocean region. and Africa. And Africa. That is one of the main region. Plus, at the same time, we see that rise of piracy activities. Rise of piracy activities. And the third thing is revival of Houthi rebels. Houthis rebel. Okay. So in the background of all these three things, on one hand, we have this one part, China's growing influence in Indian Ocean region and Africa, rise of this piracy activities, and even revival of Houthis rebel. Okay. So this is one part that why we are having this Indian African exercise. Okay. I have joined a crash course so that I would prepare under your guidance. Maths and reasoning I can be. I am going to take the classes from this April 3rd or 4th. Science and tech, environment, and the related current affairs will be done by me only. Okay. So there are certain classes of polity or history which has been completed. Now the portion of science and environment, I will start it from 3rd or 4th of April. So I am going to be there with you for almost 1 month. In this entire month of April, I will be taking the classes, science also, environment also, current affairs also. So don't worry about it. Okay. So now see here, if we are talking about the background, so there is one thing, China's growing influence in Indian Ocean region and Africa, rise of piracy activities and revival of the Houthi rebels. In this backdrop, now we are going to have the first Indian African exercise. Okay. And what is the name of it? What is the name of it? It is called as African Indian Key Maritime Engagement. Key Maritime Engagement. Means this in short is also called as AIME. Okay. AIME. India, Africa, India, Key Maritime Engagement. If you see like this, Africa, India, Key Maritime Engagement. So that is one of the exercise which is happening between India and African country. So this is a large multinational exercise. This is a multinational exercise. This is a multinational exercise and 10 African countries are participating in this. 10 African countries, they are going to participate in this initiative. Okay. The first initiative is going to be held between India and Tanzania. So those facts are not important. But see, now how the questions will be there, how the questions can come here. There is one thing, like they can ask you about this term also, that it was there in the news with respect to what. So that is one part which they can ask you with respect to the India-Africa key maritime engagement exercise. Second part is in the mains, when you are writing answer about India and Africa relation, you can say this as part of the current affairs that recently India and Africa has started the multinational maritime exercise for the first time. So this is one thing which we are having with Africa. There is also this Indian Ocean Ship Sagar Initiative. Okay. There is another component, Indian Ocean Ship Sagar Initiative. Sorry. Indian Ocean Sagar Initiative. So this is also one thing which has been launched by India. IOS Sagar, Indian Ocean Ship Sagar Initiative. Okay. So here what will be done? Like this will be deployed in April month in 5 to 8. Okay. So there will be crew members of India and Africa. So this will be conducting a training and surveillance operation. Okay. So this is a training and surveillance operation. training and surveillance operation. Okay. And this is joint operation of Indian and African crew. Indian and African crew. So we are now engaging with the African forces, African countries in terms of maritime exercise also. Okay. So there will be training and all in navigation, in firefighting, medical assistance, etc., etc. So these are the basic part. Like, you don't have to remember that how the training will be given, what type of training will be given. It is simply a joint surveillance operation between Indian forces or Indian crew members and African forces. And under this, various type of training will be provided: navigation, medical assistance, firefighting, etc. These things are going to be done under this Indian Ocean Ship Sagar initiative. And like, why this is important? Why this is very much important? The significance. Why this is significance? Like, why we are talking about this, the Indian African exercise, as a game changer right now. Okay. Why we are saying that this initiative is very much important? Any idea about this? Why we say that this is very crucial? See, there is one thing. India as preferred, India as preferred security partner. India as preferred security partner of Africa means we will become the preferred security partner of Africa. Okay, preferred, double R, preferred security partner of Africa. So that is one part. There is also an initiative of India which is called as Mahasagar. There is one concept of India which is now called as Mahasagar. Earlier we have this Sagar initiative, security and growth for all in the region. Now we have this Mahasagar, mutual and holistic advancement for security across regions. Mutual and holistic advancement. Mutual and holistic advancement for security across region. So this is one crucial part. Now earlier we were having just this Sagar initiative. Now our Prime Minister has announced it in Mauritius that now we are going to expand this. It will be Mahasagar initiative, mutual and holistic advancement, for security across region in Indian Ocean region. So next time when you are writing about Indian Ocean region, instead of writing just about Sagar, now we can mention about the new initiative Mahasagar. The new initiative Mahasagar. And whenever you are talking about Africa, mention this, that India wants to emerge as the preferred security partner of Africa. India wants to emerge as this, or India wants to establish this, that India is the preferred security partner of the African region. So this is why this article is very much crucial, and like that's why we are discussing this one. Okay. So I hope this is clear. I hope this part is clear why this issue is important. So now after this, we have this one editorial. Now here we are having this editorial about food wastage. This is about the food wastage. Okay. So it can be as part of environment also, it can be part of GS paper 2 also. So here there is linkage with GS paper 2 and GS paper 3 both. Okay. So there is linkage with both these papers, GS paper 2 also, GS paper 3 also. So now let us see this article. The first thing is, let us see some facts. Let us see some facts. Okay. See, what is the thing here? There is a United Nations Food Waste Index report. There is one thing called as United Nations Food Waste Index report. United Nations Food Waste Index report. Now it says that, like in 2022, around 1.5 billion tons of food was wasted globally. In 2022, 1.05 billion ton food wasted globally. 1.5 billion ton food has been wasted globally, and India is among the top contributors. India accounts for 20% of all food wastage. Okay. If we talk about India, it is like responsible for 20% of food waste. India is responsible for 20% of the food waste. Okay. What we also see that India has the second highest per capita household food waste. Okay. So means per person we are wasting around the food around 55 kg. China has the highest wastage ratio. China has the highest wastage ratio, but India is just after China. Okay. So India is accounting for nearly 20% of the food waste globally. Okay. So this is some fact which we can see from here. Now there is one thing called as food loss and one thing is called as food waste. So can you tell me the difference between food loss and food waste? There is one thing called as food waste and there is another thing called as food loss. So can you tell me what is the difference between them? There is a loss of food, there is a waste of food. So what is the difference between them? Why? We are coming to the why portion. Why India is the largest? Why India is among the top largest country or among the top countries for food wastage? We will talk about this. Okay. So what is the difference between food waste and food loss? Okay. See, this is part of supply chain loss. This is part of supply chain loss. Okay. This is part of supply chain loss. Like suppose that due to inefficiency in farming, transport and manufacturing. Okay. This is caused due to inefficiencies in farming, transport or manufacturing. So that is what we call as food loss. So when we talk about the food wastage, we are not counting about the food loss, we are counting about the food waste. So this happens at the level of consumer. At the level of consumer. At the level of consumer. So how does this takes place? How this food like waste is happening? Okay, this is happening due to poor storage. Poor storage. Like sometimes you may have done this, that you may have cooked some pulses or some vegetables and you have not like completely eaten that. Some of the vegetables, some of the pulses or other things are left over. And then when you come back in the evening or the next day, you see that food is spoiled because you have not stored it properly in the refrigerators. Okay. So food storage is one of the challenge. Then there is another thing, over purchasing. There is over purchasing. Sometimes when you go out in parties or when you are going out with your friends and the friend is giving you a treat. So normally if you eat one roti or two naan and all, suppose you are eating one naan in general, but when your friend is giving the party, what you will do? You will ask the waiter to bring at least 3-4 naans plus 3 or 4 different types of vegetables or different type of dishes, different type of sweets, samosa, jalebi, whatever you want to eat. Okay. So normally you are ordering a number of things when someone else is giving the treat. And then there are some people who may do it 5 samosas and eat at home. Okay. So this is one part. There is over purchasing also. And then we have this handling issue also, like how we handle the food and all. So handling issue is also there. Handling of food items, how we take care of them or how we consume them. Handling of food items. So due to all these things, there is food wastage. How much? 78 million tons of food is being discarded annually. Okay. What we see that 78 million ton food waste annually in India. And there is one more very important figure here. There is one more very important figure here. While 78 million tons of food is being wasted annually, there are 200 million people in India that go to bed hungry. Okay. 200 million people. 200 million people go to bed hungry. So while on one side we are wasting 78 million tons of food annually, 200 million people go to bed hungry because they are not having sufficient food. Okay. So this is why we are having this food wastage in India. Now what is the impact of this? Let us talk about this impact portion. What is the impact of this food waste? Let us talk individually about the food waste now, that how it impacts us. Okay. First thing is the environmental damage. Environmental damage. Now when you look at rice, rice is one of the most common staple food in India. Most of the people are consuming rice. Rice is a water intensive crop. Rice is a water intensive crop. So when you are wasting the food items, it means you have wasted all the effort. There are food items which are resource intensive, and when we are wasting them, we are wasting all those resources which have been used to produce them. Okay. So there is this impact on the environment, land, air and water. Land, air, water. All these things are going to be impacted because of our environmental, because of our food waste. There is an economic challenge also. Economic challenge. Now, due to overconsumption, over purchasing or over consumption, this leads to increase in demand. Increase in demand. This leads to increase in prices. And this also leads to unaffordability. Unaffordability for many of the people. So while some of the people are wasting the resources, wasting the food items, it becomes unaffordable for a large number of people. Okay. So that is also one of the major part. Okay. There is another thing, methane emission. Methane emission from food waste. The food waste is an organic substance, and during their decomposition, there is also methane emission as well. Okay. So there is methane emission, there is economic impact, there is this environmental damage. And you know that it is also having the social impact, which we have seen in the previous slide also. That how many people go hungry. Hunger. Okay. So this food waste is one of the major challenge. Okay. Now tell me, what can be the way forward? In this situation, what can be the way forward? Tell me about this, what can be the way forward in the part of reducing the food wastage? What can be the way forward? Anyone? What can be the way forward in this situation? How we can reduce the food wastage in India? So see, the food waste is largely occurring from the side of consumer. Okay. So first thing is awareness among people for reducing food wastage. You may have seen that nowadays when people are going to hotels or restaurants, they are ordering a number of things and then they don't consume it. Many of them are simply going to order the things, they eat a very small portion of it, and the remaining things goes to waste. Okay. Sometimes people are ordering unnecessary items also, and then they don't consume it. Why? Because they think, no, I'm not getting it as per my expectation of my taste. Okay. Sometimes you may have seen people that they are going to restaurant, they are ordering something, and they think that, no, it is not as per my taste level, that I have got better food than this, so I will not be consuming it. So while they think that they are cool in doing that, or they can waste it and no one is telling them anything, it is causing harm to our environment. It is causing harm to our environment. So many people do this. They order a lot of things and then they just waste it like there is no value of the food. Okay. So there is one thing, there must be awareness among the people. There must be awareness among the people about the consumption of food. Okay. Second thing is, there are many events. There are many events where people have this extra food items. Like suppose if there is parties, if there are wedding ceremonies or anything like that, there is preparation of extra amount of food. Okay. So there is another part, sharing of extra food. Sharing of extra food. Sharing of extra food. Okay. Now here what we can do is, suppose there is an initiative, save the food, save food, share food. Okay. So this is an initiative by FSSI. Okay. So a similar initiative and various initiatives are like that at local levels also. So they are taking the food items from various party sites and other places, and then they are distributing it among the people. So that is also one thing. Share food initiative. That is also one of the part like there can be large scale redistribution of the food items. Okay. Then the third part is that now in the in various restaurants and all other places, what we can do is we can have some standardization. We can have some standardization in terms of the share of the food or the portion of the food. Okay. So rationalization or reduction in portion of food at hotels or restaurants. At hotels simply. Okay. Like there are various hotels and restaurants. Like suppose if you are going to any of the restaurant and you can eat only 1/4 of mushroom mutton, but then the restaurant has no option. They are going to give you one full plate of mushroom mutton, but you have gone there for dining by yourself and you have no other option to carry that food. Okay. So in that situation, how you are going to utilize this? So this is one part, like restaurant can reduce the portion size. Okay. There is another part, a major food item is wasted by the people by their plate. So this type of things can be disincentivized. Like if the plates are not clean or others, there may be some extra penalty on them. Okay. That if plates are not clean, you will have to pay some extra. So that is your suggestion, you can write. Otherwise, not necessary. Okay. There can be incentive, of course, for finishing of the food. That if you have completely finished of the food, you will get some incentive. Okay. So there can be incentives at public hotels for reduction of food waste. Or penalty. Penalty is from your part. If you want, if you have seen your friend that he has taken the food items and he has not finished it, you can impose a penalty of ₹100 on them. Okay. This is one thing which can be done. Okay. So yes, this is one part how we can have the reduction in the food wastage. Now we are not writing that there can be a law or rules or guidelines for this, because then everything cannot be done by law. There cannot be law that how much you have to eat, how much you cannot waste and all. So there cannot be law for that. So it can come through the community initiative. Okay. There can be public awareness through that part also, that you can connect it with the nature, you can connect it with the God. Okay. You can connect it as part of religion. It is already there, but now people are a different religious, the religion of people have gone different. They are offended by some petty things, but then if you talk to them about the spirituality and all, they say that no, they are more modern. Okay. So there is different definition of religion nowadays. I'm not going into that. Okay. So now coming to the next part, permafrost thawing. Okay. There is one part called as permafrost. So what is permafrost actually? The first thing is this, what is permafrost? Anyone, can you tell me what is permafrost? What is permafrost? Now you may have seen this in the part of food wastage itself. You may have seen that in every friend group there are some people like who don't like to waste the food item. So if something is left in the plate, they try to consume it. So now even they are like the other friends, they also make fun of those people. They also, if someone is trying to finish off the plates, if someone is trying to like make sure that there is no such food wastage, then the other will also make fun of them, that he or she eats too much. Okay. So there are so many challenges in our like society in the present time. freeze ground for 2 consecutive years. Okay, means at least 2 years. So it is frozen ground. It is basically frozen ground for at least 2 years. So there is a minimum time period that there should be a frozen ground for a minimum of 2 years. That is what we call as permafrost. Many of them have existed for thousands and thousands of years. Many of them have existed also for thousands of years. Okay. But now there is one thing called as thawing of permafrost. Thawing of permafrost. So what is this thawing of permafrost? It is just like this. You can see this image that now that ice layer is breaking away. So there is breaking away of the ice layer, and then again there is melting of it. Okay. So breaking of the ice layer, breaking and melting of ice layer, breaking and melting of ice layer. So that is what we call as permafrost thawing. Okay. Now why this is a concern? Like, why this is a concern? What is the challenge with respect to this permafrost thawing? So that is one thing which we are going to discuss. Challenges of permafrost thawing. This is one part, challenges of permafrost thawing. So can you tell me what are the challenges due to this? What are the challenges due to this permafrost thawing? What can be the challenges because of this? Water, carbon emission, okay? Anything else? Climate change, global warming? No, they are the reason behind it. I'm asking, of course, it can again add to the cycle, it can fuel the cycle, it can provide a negative feedback, like which can again promote more and more global warming. Okay, that's also fine, global warming. Anything else? Water level. Water level impact on ecosystem, threat to polar species, flood like situation, okay? Flood, carbon emission, okay? So see, let us see this one by one. First one is geographical impact. Geographical. Now what we will see that there is going to be instability of the land. There is going to be instability of the land. It was a stable zone for a very long period of time. So then after, there is going to be instability of the land. Okay. It can also lead to landslides in the in hilly regions. Landslides in hilly regions. Like when we are talking about Indian Kashmir, Srinagar, or when we are talking about Ladakh and all regions, so in these regions, we can have landslides also. Okay. Then, on the other hand, we can also see the infrastructural risk. Infrastructure. In the terms of infrastructure, what we see that it is going to impact the residential settlements. It is going to impact the residential settlements and hydropower projects. Residential settlements and hydropower projects. May be impacted. Then if we look from the environmental perspective, environment. So here we see that there is sea level increase. There is flood like situation. Then we also see that here we may also get this problem of release of CH4, methane, and carbon dioxide. So that is also going to impact this. Decrease in albedo. Decrease in albedo. Albedo is reflection of the sunlight. So decrease in albedo will also follow. Okay. At the same time, from the health point, from the health perspective, we see that the zombie virus or bacteria, they may also emerge from here. Those bacteria or viruses which has remained underground for a long period of time, they may also come up and they may lead to rise of various diseases. Okay. It is also going to impact the biodiversity. So that is also going to be impacted because of this permafrost thawing. Okay. When there is permafrost thawing, all these things are going to happen. Now, why we are discussing this? There was a study in this portion, and it says that in Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh region, the permafrost is thawing at a very high rate. They are being thawing at a high rate. So that is one of the challenge in Jammu, Kashmir and this region. Okay. Let me show you this on map. This is the part of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. This portion here, this white portion which you see, this is the permafrost region. This is the permafrost region of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. And now what we see that this permafrost is thawing, it is melting, it is breaking away. So there will be increase in sea level, there will be increase in flood. At the same time, over a period of time, we will see that water scarcity and everything is also going to follow. Okay. So these are the challenges which we see because of permafrost thawing. Okay. What is the reason? We all know that. The reason is very much simple. What are the reasons behind this? The reasons are very much simple. We have the anthropogenic activities. Like deforestation, then global warming, and climate change. So these all things are leading to the permafrost thawing in the regions of Jammu and Kashmir as well as Ladakh. And in the upcoming times, we may see that there is like the complete destruction of this permafrost structure in the regions of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. And then after the global warming, it will further be enhanced, further be aggravated over the region. Okay. So this is one of the challenge, permafrost. The thing is, there is solution, but no one is paying attention to that solution. Everyone knows the solution, but no one is paying attention. People are shifting blame. Developing countries on developed nations, and developed nations on developing countries. Industries on agriculture, agriculture on industries. People on government and industries, and government on people, and industries also on people. So there is only a blame game which is going on. People blame the government, people blame the industries. But if you ask them to take the metro, they will not take the metro. Okay. There are many people who can also go to their offices by metro or buses, but they will not use it. Why? They will shift the blame on government. Okay. Then the industries, they are polluting the environment, but they will say that agriculture is the major source of methane emission in India. Why you are not doing anything? Agriculture, everyone knows that agriculture is one of the major contributors to the greenhouse gas emission. But then no one will say something about agriculture because that is a vote bank. Okay. So that is the challenge within the country and at international level. There is only blame game. And while people and government and industries and international institutions, while they keep on blaming each other, the time is slipping away, the time is passing away, and then within 10 to 20 years, there will be a time when nothing more can be done. Okay. So that is the challenge. So everyone knows the solution, no one is ready to take it. Okay. That is the problem with this global warming right now. Okay. Now, coming to the last topic, one thing is there, DNA polymorphism. There is one thing called as DNA polymorphism. So can you tell me, what is this DNA polymorphism? Any idea about this? What is DNA polymorphism? What is DNA polymorphism? Any idea about this? No. I have to say yes. You have to give some answer. You cannot directly say no. DNA polymorphism involves one or more variants of a particular DNA sequence within population. Okay, means it is basically the difference of DNA or genes among the people. In simple language, it is about the difference of genes or DNA among the people. Okay. So first of all, let us try to understand this one by one. There is one thing called as DNA. Okay. Now this DNA, it contains all the genetic information of a person. Contains all genetic information or all information about life. It is also called as the blueprint of life. It is also called as the blueprint of life. It is also called as blueprint of life. Now in previous classes, we have discussed about one thing, that there is one thing called as chromosome. Then there is another thing called as DNA, and then there are genes. Okay. So now what we see that, if we just revise it once again, there is one thing called as chromosome. So chromosome is nothing but condensed DNA. Condensed DNA. And this DNA is made up of genes. This is made up of genes. Now see, this DNA is having different base pairs. It is having different base pairs like ATCG, which you all have read from the beginning itself. Adenine, guanine, cytosine, thymine. Okay. So it is having, this DNA is having ATCG. ATCG. Adenine, guanine, thymine, cytosine, etc. Okay. So it is having this ATCG pairs. Now, if we are talking about DNA, so in most of the people, there are certain differences among the DNA. Other than the identical twins, there is some difference between the DNA. And how do we get this? So there is one thing called as STR. There is one thing called as STR, short tandem repeat. There is one thing called as short tandem repeat. So what is the short tandem repeat? This short tandem repeat is basically repeating sequences of DNA bases. Okay. It is repeating sequences. It is repeating sequences of DNA base. Okay. Like, let me show you this by one image. Okay. Here we are having this person 1. Here we are having this person 1. It is having this pair GTACT, AGA, CTA, 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 CTG, GTG. Okay. Then again you can see this is the repeat, the short tandem repeat. Here we have seen 5 repeats, here we have seen 6 repeats, here we have seen 7 repeats. So now when we are trying to understand the DNA of a person, this is one of the part. It is not the only part, but it is one of the part through which we are able to understand that what is the DNA fingerprint of each person, or means what is the uniqueness of the DNA of each person. This person 1 is having this type of repeat. The person 2 is having 6 repeats. The person 3 is having 7 repeats, and so on. Okay. It can be of different pairs also. So short tandem repeats, they are used to identify the distinction between different individuals. Okay. These variations, they are used to create unique DNA profiles. Okay. They are used to create unique DNA profile. They are used to create this unique DNA profile. And see, on the basis of this repeat, like suppose that there is a person, they have got any chromosome, let us say chromosome number 3. Chromosome number 3. Okay. This is chromosome number 3. So you will find that like 3A, 3B. Okay. Let us say, just by example, just take this example. There is a mother, father, and they have a child. So in this, there is a chromosome 3A, 3B. Okay, 3A, 3B. So from here we can identify, like suppose we are reading this mother's DNA. So from here we can know that, okay, from mother, which type of sequence has come here in the child. From the father, which type of sequence has come. From the father's family also, like they will also have their father and mother. They will also have their father and mother. So this 3A, if it is linked to mother, here we can again identify whether it has come from the father or the mother. And suppose 3B is coming from this father. So here again we can discuss whether the father has got the 3B from their father or their mother. So it means this DNA profile, or this DNA, or the DNA which is present there, it can be used to establish the parental lines, like how they are similar to their previous generations. So that can be established with the help of these DNA repeats. Okay. So short tandem repeats or DNA fingerprinting can be used to detect the parental lines also. It can be used to detect the parental lines also. Okay. So suppose this works like this. Okay. How do we get this? How do we get this DNA? There is one thing called as DNA fingerprinting. There is one thing called as DNA fingerprinting. There is one thing called as DNA fingerprinting. So how does this work? First, there is an extraction of DNA from this cell. First, there is extraction of DNA from the cell. It can be taken from anything like bone, blood, hair, skin, sweat, anything. Okay. So from there, we obtain a cell. From that cell, there is DNA extraction. Okay. Then, using this polymerase chain reaction, we amplify the STR, short tandem repeats. We are increasing the number of short tandem repeats. Okay. From here, this short tandem repeats, they are separated, and then there is result interpretation, that what is the short tandem repeat, how much repeats are there, what is the property of that repeat, and then that is matched against the previous enrolled cell lines. Okay. So first we take the DNA, from there we acquire the STR, we amplify the STR in the lab, that STR is read, that how many repeats and all other things are there, and then after we try to relate it with the previous records. It is same like fingerprinting. First you take the fingerprint of the person, you analyze what are the patterns of the fingerprint, and then you try to match it with any existing fingerprint of the previous records. So in same manner, there is DNA fingerprinting also. We obtain the DNA from the person. From there, instead of the pattern, we acquire the short tandem repeats. In our fingerprint, there are patterns. So in DNA, there is no such fingerprint. So how do we get the fingerprint? By the short tandem repeats. That how many repeats and all are there. So they are multiplied, they are enhanced, and then after reading them, after interpreting them, we try to match them with the previous cell lines in order to identify the people. Okay. So what is done using this? The parental and biological relationship. Parental or biological relationship. They can be understood through this DNA fingerprinting. We can get the information. We can get the information from this. We can also identifying the forensic department. Forensic team can use it for identifying criminals. Identifying criminals. And at the same time, like suppose in the past, there have been some people who may have been victim of certain thing, and there is a genetic change among them, due to which, like suppose there is like 10,000 years ago, there may have been a nuclear tragedy, and that tragedy led to mutation in the gene. So now when we are reading the fossil, and if we are getting that, okay, many people are getting the same mutation, so from there we can identify or correlate those fossils. Okay, so identifying the disaster victims or ancient human remains. Okay, even ancient human remains can be studied. Ancient human remains can also be studied with the help of DNA fingerprinting. Okay, so these are the things which are done with DNA fingerprinting. Remember one part. In order to understand this in a simple manner, use the same formula. How do we get the fingerprint? We give it on any paper or any type of those devices. They analyze the pattern of our hand and they match it with any previous record. So this is one thing in the normal fingerprint. Now in case of DNA, what they do? They identify the STR, short tandem repeat. What are short tandem repeats? They are repeating sequences of the DNA. They are repeating sequences of the DNA. That is unique for a person. That can be used to identify a person. So short tandem repeats are extracted from the DNA. They are enhanced, they are multiplied, they are interpreted, and after that they are matched with the previous result. So this process is what we call as DNA fingerprinting. And what is DNA? What is this DNA polymorphism? DNA polymorphism simply means that the variation in the DNA of different humans, the variations of genetic sequences in different humans, that is called as DNA polymorphism. I hope that is clear. I hope this is clear. What is DNA polymorphism? So these were the 4 topics which we have discussed for today. First, we have seen about Indian African exercise. Then we have seen about food wastage. Then we have seen about permafrost and DNA fingerprinting, how the method is done, plus what is the application of it. Okay, so that will be all for today. This is one simple news. I think all of you have seen this previously also. There is a change in definition of MSME. We have covered this previously also. So revise this topic. Tomorrow I will ask question from here also. There is a change in this part. MSME definition has been changed. We have discussed this in previous classes. Okay. So let's meet then tomorrow at the same time. And in the morning, see, there is one more important thing. in the morning tomorrow, we are going to start with the questions of biology and biotechnology. In our revision series, we are going to start with questions of biology and biotechnology in the morning at 8 a.m. So see you all there. Is not the permafrost thawing in polar areas also? Permafrost is thawing in polar areas also, in Himalayan regions also. Everywhere it is thawing. Okay. Okay, Avdesh, I will get that question tomorrow itself because it is already 6:06 and I have just another class at 6:15. Okay. So I will see that question tomorrow about Lokpal, CAG and the other topic about CAG. So for that question, I will discuss that tomorrow. Okay. And then we will discuss the remaining topics. Thank you, everyone. Take care and all the best. Thank you.